Hey there, hello, welcome. This is video 2 of a two-parter. You don't have to have seen part 1, but here's a quick recap.
I mean, it worked. Look, you built a house, right? That's what you did. You built a house.
So we built the outside and now we're gonna build the inside. And if you have stumbled upon this video somehow at all, I assume you have fallen down a Sims speed build rabbit hole, so we're just gonna cut right to it. Okay, so as you can see, we finished the landscaping, we built the house, the inside is... Last time we did the floor plan, according to a couple of different sources, just like I said last time, a draft that I saw that someone on the art department did, and then a 3D model of the building that I found that may not be particularly accurate. I'm not sure where it's from, but I followed that and I will end up deleting a bunch of walls because it was wrong. But yeah, and then also at first we're doing this blue wallpaper because I thought it was the closest we were going to get to that green wallpaper, but I will change my mind later. Don't worry about it. I decided that the color was more important than the pattern. You gotta make choices like that. When you're trying to recreate something in The Sims, like something you see on TV or even like your real house, you have to make compromises. You have to make a ton of compromises, and that includes wallpapers because obviously the Sims team doesn't have every single wallpaper. With every pack, we get a bunch of new cool wallpapers, but they literally cannot get every single one. If you guys remember in The Sims 3 though, you had the color wheel, the color picker, so you really could almost make anything you could possibly want, but I think that the trade out for The Sims 4 not having a color picker is that it just looks better and that the build controls are better and that all in all, it's a better game for designing, not a better game for playing. I think the gameplay was better than The Sims 3. But The Sims 4 is much better for building, so we're going to be building in The Sims 4 99.99% of the time on this channel, so...
Great plan.
There's no other option, Anne.
Thanks. So, basically what I did for this is that I would find a picture of one of the rooms from the mansion online, and then I would try to recreate it, and then in order to see all of the angles of the room, I basically just put the show on my phone and then scrubbed through every single episode for a chance to see every single corner of every single room, which is not possible. Oh, by the way, in the video right now, I upsized some eggs and put them in a bowl because in that sitting room, in the actual show, there are ostrich eggs in a bowl. And I'm planning on making a building tips and tricks, like tutorial video soon, for just in case you guys have any questions about how to upsize, downsize, put items on top of surfaces that want to slot themselves onto specific spots on those surfaces, you know what I mean? Like when you try to put a bowl down in between two counters in the kitchen and then it tries to slot to either side, there is a way to get around that. So I'm going to be making a build tutorial video sometime soon. Mostly because the way that I build in The Sims, I like things to be cluttered. I think it looks better that way. I like things to be all smashed together. I don't like the automatic slotting that happens. And so you sort of have to figure out how to get around that. And so I'm gonna hopefully show you guys that. I'm gonna do that because I feel like I have something to say, you know? On the subject, I don't know when you're watching this video, I have no idea, but currently it's July the 16th in the horrible year of 2020, which means that yesterday, the trailer for Nifty Knitting came out. It was a community poll stuff pack, which the Sims team has done before, but this is the most recent time that they've done it, and they allowed us to pick every single teeny tiny little item that's going to be in the pack. And I just wanted to say that I'm really excited about Nifty Knitting. I think it's really cute. But I've seen in the community a lot of people sort of disappointed or annoyed that the last time we were allowed to pick, we chose laundry. And this time we chose knitting. The other options were really cool. The other options were like, the only ones that I really actually remember were a ghost hunting career option and also a Grim Reaper career option, which would have been so cool because I feel like everyone's always trying to turn Grim into a character in their game. Like there are mods where you can like marry him and have babies with him and stuff.
Spooky.
Being able to be a Grim Reaper would have been so cool. And I didn't vote for it. I think I voted for like a like a chef's career or something like that, because I thought that would be really interesting, but I'm happy with the knitting. But for a stuff pack, I really feel like you want to reserve your really cool stuff that would have a lot of mechanics and options and things for game packs. Having a like ghost hunting career stuff pack means that you get like 5 CAS items and 10, 15 build items and a new career that might not be everything you hoped it would be, and you definitely wouldn't get a new world. And I feel like if you're gonna do like a magic world and a vampire world, some sort of like ghost world would be really cool, you know? Like, you don't want to waste such a potentially like big concept on something so small like knitting. Well, I mean, we did waste it on knitting, and I think knitting was the perfect thing to waste a stuff pack on. So that's just me. Little disclaimer about what's happening in the video right now. So we're doing the upstairs. And like I said last time, when you're building sets in film, all you have to do is convince the viewer that what you're showing them is the inside of the house could reasonably be the inside of the house based on what you chose to be the outside of the house. It is very rare, unless it's like a small production or something very, very specific that they needed, that a movie or a TV show will be shot in the same actual house. Usually you just pick a house somewhere that fits what you need, and then you shoot all the scenes that would be outside of the house, and then you build the inside of the house on a soundstage. Now, the reason people prefer to build the inside of the house on a soundstage is if there are any special effects, you're going to want to do it in a controlled place. If there are really interesting camera moves, you're going to want to be able to pull out walls. And you just want to really be able to control the environment. Like if there's a rainstorm outside, you can't sit around waiting for it to actually rain. So what you do is your special effects team hooks up a bunch of hoses outside of the windows on your soundstage. You build the set on top of, I mean, there's usually some sort of like water collecting pool type situation underneath most of the sound stages at really big studios in Hollywood or Atlanta or wherever you're shooting. But that way you can just like control everything. You know, there's no truck outside picking up trash and ruining the shot because of sound, because everything is very contained and controlled. You can control temperatures, you can theoretically control the weather, you can build the house to whatever specifications you need it to be, as long as it's reasonable that the outside of the house you picked somewhere else is the inside of the house that you ended up building. So the house that they built on a soundstage in Los Angeles looks pretty different on the inside geographically than the house that they actually shot, the Victorian mansion that they picked to shoot in, I don't even remember where it was in California. I said it in the last video. Go watch the last video. I'll link it somewhere at some point. Because I was trying to marry the outside of the house to the inside of the house, it ends up being a bit different. The footprint of the house ends up being a bit different than it is in the actual show. So when you go up the stairs in the show, they don't show it all that much, but they would go up the stairs, which they did all the time because you'd have these little ghost scenes of little girls sitting in chairs and things in that hallway. They shot a lot in that hallway because there's just so much like history and people hanging out in the hallway, running into each other, hating each other, getting mad at each other, saying creepy things to each other. So you go up the stairs and then behind you is a window. But for that to make sense, for the stairs where they are in this house to make sense, behind you wouldn't be a window, it would be more rooms, because the stairwell is in the direct middle of the house. And it's because the floor plan of the house in the show ignores the fact that there's sort of like an extra wing on the back of the house, which I explained to you guys last time. So I ended up having to make up some rooms. Like I put sort of like a sunroom, green room. You'll see this later. Down there, and I just made it up. I also made up Alan's room because you never actually see it, and I made up like this an office. So, and I put an extra bathroom downstairs because there technically was no bathroom at all downstairs. Right now, we're doing the creepy little girl's room, and when I say creepy little girl, I mean her sister, and who just keeps showing up as a little hallway ghost. And we actually got to see a lot of her room because everyone is constantly throwing themselves on her bed and crying. And then this bathroom we see a lot of because there's a lot of laying in the tub listening to music and crying. And this bedroom we see a lot of because there's a lot of typing in here and crying. The thing about this house that I thought was really interesting is that it's this big, gorgeous manor. People have been here for generations, but it's very, very feminine. All of the touches are very feminine. The furniture is very feminine. The only thing really in the whole house that I would consider to be masculine would be Alan's armchair. I interpret it as, and this is one of those things when you're watching movies and TV that you should think about when you see, like, set decoration choices. They make these choices very, very specifically for a reason. I took all of this feminine set dressing except that one chair to mean that Alan, despite being the man of the house, is not in control of his house whatsoever, and he's sort of been castrated by the women of the family.
Ouch.
I don't know, I just think it's really interesting, especially like this big grand master bedroom with the ebony floors and everything. He's basically not allowed in. No one's allowed in, and I don't know, I just think it says a lot about the characters. So this sort of window seat thing, I do it twice in the house. I've never done it before, but basically all I did was put down some counters and then raise an ottoman inside of the counters to sort of look like a cushion. Because the only window seat in the game, there are actually many window seats in the game, which is really cool, but they're all diagonal. So there's none if it's actually just like a rectangular bay window. I guess you could have just put a couch in there, but I wanted it to actually be a window seat, so that's why I did that in multiple places. And I seriously doubt that it's usable by actual Sims, but, you know, all we're going for here is mimicking the house, so I wasn't really going for usable. This kitchen was really fun to do. They end up spending a lot of time in the kitchen, especially when they're gearing up for Calhoun Day. I don't know if you guys noticed what I did just there, but on the wall, there's this weird sort of like pizza oven chimney thing. It's on the... I actually just noticed this, but based on the floor plan of the house and the way that they built it, in the dining room you have a chimney, and then on the other side you have this sort of oven. So it's a brick wall. I'll put a picture up so you guys can see it. It's a brick wall with a door, and I ended up putting a tombstone, not a tombstone, but like a headstone in there because that's the closest thing to wrought iron door that I could find that looked similar. But that would mean that if they were to use that oven for any reason, you'd be basically putting it in the fireplace on the other side of the wall. But I was really, really, really glad that we had these. I think that these green cabinets came with Wizarding Magical Pack. I don't remember. And I think that this game 100% needs more like brightly colored, not brightly colored, just different colors of cabinets, like uppers and lower cabinets, because the only color options are those weird like base game sort of IKEA looking ones, and the colors are horrible, like really terrible. There are some, I really love the colors of the Jungle Adventure appliances, like, but the cabinets, like you can never get a cabinet to look good with it. And I'm just really glad that we had these green ones because the Sharp Object kitchen, the kitchen in that house is so iconic. It's bright green. It's sort of, it makes you feel comforted, but also like kind of creeped out at the same time. They use greens in this house a lot to just sort of make you feel very weird about the whole house, which is really cool. So I really hope that if nothing else, watching this video helps you guys like notice things like that next time you're watching movies and TV, because they do it on purpose. Every color choice is done very purposefully. Every, placement, every item, everything is chosen very purposefully to make you feel a certain way, to create a vibe and a feeling for a certain room. So yeah, like the bright pinks in here, it's supposed to make you feel like Emma is a child, but she's a full-blown like 16-year-old. I don't really remember how old she's supposed to be, but the fact that her bedroom still looks like a little girl's bedroom just means that her mom is sort of obsessed with keeping her young, and that goes with the whole theme of Munchausen's by proxy towards the end. Sorry if you haven't seen the series, and that might be a spoiler, so just forget I said it. And if you don't know what Munchausen's by proxy means, then just don't look it up. Yeah. Another thing about the furniture outside of this house is people are constantly hanging out on the porch. Constantly. And every time they hang out on the porch, the furniture's different. So I don't know realistically who is going out and changing the furniture on their porch almost every single day, but the set decorators definitely did in this show. I don't know, just the furniture changes a lot. I don't love using CC, although I definitely could for some things in this series. Like if there's a very specific piece of furniture that we just don't have in The Sims, I'd be willing to use CC, but I really like being able to share what I make on the gallery. And if you guys want to download this house and just see the details or even play in it for whatever reason, it is on the gallery. My origin ID is the same as the channel name here, Eliza Built Stuff. So if you guys want to download it, that would be awesome. But basically we're getting to the part where, I also added a laundry room because there was nowhere for anyone to do laundry in this house. And with the amount of outfits that you see over the course of the show, they was doing some laundry. Speaking of laundry, I still can't believe that the last time there was a community voted stuff pack, we picked laundry, and then this next time we picked knitting. It really tells you something about the Sims community. Sometimes you just want to knit, you know? And I've heard a lot of people in the community complaining that not only is there's not enough stuff to do with babies, there's also not that much to do with elders, like traditionally elder type things. You know, like you can be an elder in the game and go to space and, you know, live out your dreams and still do everything that you want to do. It's not like the game actually limits what elders can do. It's just that there's nothing that they can do that other people can't. Like, I don't know, like maybe like a reminiscing animation of some sort, or like bouncing a grandkid on your knee or something. And so I have a tendency of turning my aging off and just keeping my Sims as young adults forever, which gets kind of weird when the teenagers grow up and end up being the same age as their parents. So I never, ever, ever end up playing with elders. But, I mean, I'd be tempted to if there was more to do with them. I don't know. Y'all really should play in this house and let me know what you end up doing with it. Because it is cool. It's big. It's got a lot of rooms. You'd lose your Sims very easily. But we're getting to the end of the video. So let's do a little tour. We've got everybody here. They are all looking very angry at each other. And it is raining appropriately. So here's the outside of our house. Here's our beautiful landscaping that we worked so hard for, and then went in-game and it was the beginning of spring, which means everything's still kind of dead looking, which kind of appropriate. Here's our terrible freshly mowed grass attempt. That is the outside, so let us go inside, shall we? So here's our hallway. Gorgeous, beautiful. Ooh, ah. And then we've got our sitting room with our eggs that we worked so hard for. And then right behind that is Alan's music room that he spends all of his time in, being real creepy and such. Kitchen. You see? Ooh, ah. I bet actually this room I'm the most proud of. I think if you held it up next to a screenshot, it would actually look the most accurate, as opposed to every other room, which we kind of had to make stuff up for. But here's our dining room. Here's our super dramatic shot of our dollhouse. Ooh, ah, ee. So we go upstairs. We've got our hallway. We've got our couch where our creepy ghost child likes to hang out. Over here we have Camille's room, childhood bedroom, a lot of crying. Here is Camille's bathroom, that fancy tub everybody's always talking about. Here is Adora's room. I picked these floors just because I thought that it had the texture of sort of a faux, sort of like an ivory look. Could also look like teeth, if you know what I'm saying. Bathroom you rarely see. Child's room that everyone likes to cry in. Emma's room that she likes to be creepy in. And then we've got Alan's fake bedroom, fake office, and then a nice fake little hangout area back here, but that is about it. Check out that roof. Very complicated, very cool. And that's it for this house, so please, please, please let me know what house you'd like me to do next. I'm very excited, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye!